Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have another community cast for you guys today. This one turned in by Bob Magilica, who seems to be teamed up with Synthetic and Battle Nation. The three of them I think I've seen before on Boot Camp server, so it is a Boot Camp 3v3 team versus Rotor von Kampf, Cine Tractor, and Dejan, who I am not really familiar with, although I think I might have played against Cine Tractor once. Not really sure. So this is, of course, one of the nearly a dozen community casts that were sent into my Discord server, so we're not even halfway through that queue right now, but I'm working on it. We're going to have one every other day, and I should keep it updated on the Discord as to who is coming out when, so do take a look for that. And holy cow, what is this? Oh man, right when I was going to start talking about Bob Magilica's Norad Support deck, which was supposed to be the highlight of this video, we have a helicopter rush-ish thing. I guess not a full-on rush if they don't go for the Foxtrot Golf sort of opener, well, home zone thing, but it was a lot of helicopters, and it's being countered decently well, a lot of them going down. The Apache, of course, still alive, but this is a 120-point helicopter. We've already seen a couple of 90-pointers die, and 70-pointers die as well, along with recon in the air. And down goes that 100-point helicopter, so if there's not a good follow-up from this, it's going to be a hard game. There needs to be a lot of kills here for Blue, right? I mean, barely even a minute and a half in. South Africa is so fast. And it looks like they have secured this town. Inflix, Milans, Rover Wombats, all of this stuff shooting in. And if they can hold the town right here, then there you go. That's going to be probably game right there. Just it's so hard to retake from the Red Force side, even with control over part of Echo, which doesn't even look like they necessarily have. Oh, get this unloaded. Yep. Come on. Buffaloes, get this unloaded. Oh my goodness, they're in the town block. They're in the town block, but they're dying, and okay. This is where we see USA, or NORAD, I believe, support come in, Patriot shooting in, Avenger shooting in, planes going down every single time, and just a really big hold here. Highlanders, Rangers. Would like to see a little bit more recon in the hedgerows right there, but, yeah, see. Wagner, if you're listening, I can learn hedgerow, not hedgerow, but I swear that's how we said it when I was growing up, so I'll still fall into it every once in a while. I think we all do, and it looks like that was actually Bergamot, right? Yeah, South Africa, Bergamot, and Casper K-Car combo. Militia with autocannons. It's a little unique, but it does tend to work decently well. And I don't think Red brought enough. I don't think they expected this sort of aggressive push. I mean, Hotel has been taken, Echo has been taken. This entire game may well be decided by whether or not Blue can hold it off against that Red 4 onslaught. There's lots of Proletariat, there's OT-Tab 71s, OT-M 60 PVs, which are incredibly deadly anti-infantry vehicles for 10 points. They have 3 weapons, including a recoilless rifle there. It is just brutal, vicious stuff. There's nice support in from the Russell 20s, the Lynx H7s, and a multi-line defense. It's actually looking like a bit more of a problem over in Hotel, as lots of the stuff is getting killed. Milan down to, well, no missiles left. Pair of Pathfinders getting killed by autocannons and main guns. These guys need to be back inside the main block using those frag rounds against VDV, not against the tanks and the BRDM-3s. So that is a little rough. We do have reinforcements on the way from Blue, and it looks like Bob's job here is to lock down over half the board to allow his other 2 players to really focus on that single front. I almost wonder, we see Dejan, we see Rotor, but we haven't seen Cine. I wonder if he's doing the same thing. So there's an M35, Alpha will be locked down, and it looks like Delta, yeah, that should be enough to get a little bit of tick for Blue 4 if this gets unloaded, which it needs to be right now. Oh, come on. That might be, is that, what is that in the CH-147s? That's Canadian, right? So yeah, okay. We'll see. We'll see what that is. Interesting choice of helicopter. It's not really my favorite, but they are very, very, very high health, which can often be very good. Oh, double Chimera. I love it. Just don't let them get shots. And yeah, the thing about Chimeras, they have to turn entirely in order to deal any sort of damage in, because they don't have a turret. And, well, good fire pause right there. I just worry because the VDB-90 have an amazingly powerful anti-tank gun. And with Hotel being a little bit more contested here, that is going to be an issue, especially if the Chimera turns to drive or turns to face and the VDV get a shot off. That Vampire, 24 AP, 70% accuracy, 875 meter range, wonderful anti-tank capabilities there. So it looks like Blue is drawing back just a little bit, still holding across these bridges here in Hotel. That is really the most important thing. There's an Mi-24 VP coming in, an L-18 that's just circling, denying any sort of air cover. Of course, South African bombers are mostly pretty slow and would definitely be caught out by something like a circling air superiority fighter. And oh, come on, hit the scratch hit. Okay, that's actually pretty lucky. Scratch hit's hitting the Caspier. Apache hit the scratch hit, didn't get stunned, killed, and all that sort of thing. But BTR-90's coming in, and nice takedown of that Hind. 1-2 missiles coming in, and let's see that thing go down. And I do apologize, Bob, if you're watching this. I'm not trying to ignore you over here. I do tend to highlight the people who have turned in the replays, but there's not a lot of action going on here, and there's so much going on over on the right-hand side. It feels like a bit of a shame not to focus on that instead. So if something starts happening over on the left, we will focus over to it. I do, of course, not do any sort of pre-viewing for these sorts of things, so I get the raw, unfiltered first glance with you guys here, looking at that together. Down goes another Apache. That's 240 points in helicopters. You do have to wonder how that's going to be mitigated from kills on the ground, and even with the Kurnos going down too, it's really expensive. 150 point plane right there, and yeah, it killed its Tunguska, probably killed a couple other things, and it looks like Sini Tractor does at least have some forces over here. So this is no longer a 2v2 over on this side. It looks like with Sini supporting, that is going to be a 3v2 unless Bob gets some forward motion here, which it does look like is on the way. CH-147s, of course, we do have the Combat and Chimera. He is supporting in Hotel. And that fire support could be absolutely invaluable. BTR-90s are very expensive, 30 points apiece, so Chimera's killing them, ripping them apart is very nice. And CH-147s, you know, I might be about to be proved wrong here with my disdain for these guys if they can get some nice shots in against the Spetsnaz crew. They do have M134 miniguns that are quite powerful. Oh man, that scares me every single time those VDV shoot in. That's just terrifying right there, I swear. And I do have to say, I like the focus here from Battle Nation and Synthetic on really just making sure they have Hotel, because I mean, all you need is a +1, right? 33 minutes, 62 points to 3, and even if Echo is contested, as long as Hotel is locked down, that's the +1 that you need, right? So I guess one thing I would like to see a bit more infantry over on this side, but I know it's sort of conceding that you've lost this part of Echo Zone, but I think that's probably just recognizing a reality right now, which is unfortunate in its own right. But I'd like to see some defenses set up, because this section of bridges can become an absolute death trap. You get ATGMs here, you get recon and infantry over on the right-hand side. Any armor that crosses gets side shot, and any infantry that gets stranded gets shot and taken down. So that at least would be what I would be looking for with it. And Buffalo's, geez, Buffalo is 75, 15-point strength, HK21, and HK G3A2, and that is, it's a bit of a unique choice, but I guess they are 15-man shocks. They can fight decently well in towns for that, just not against any sort of heavy armor with those base RPG-7s. And T-64Bs here from Rotor, I almost wish I could see their kill list later on. They were over here on the, well, our left, their right in Hotel earlier, shooting in at some of the supporting elements and infantry from Synthetic, and they're still alive, which is a little rare for that sort of a... Ooh, what's it shooting at? Not the Gazelle? Might be the Gazelle. I didn't know these guys had... Oh yeah, 3325. I was thinking the HQ-61, the Chinese one, that's anti-plane, but nope, that is anti-helicopter. So yeah, this onslaught, being 3 people coming in at once on one position, this is what team games are about for me. It's the sheer coordination right there. And I gotta say, this is the second and third Mirage F1AZs that we've seen bought, and it looks like none of them, actually maybe one, nope, none of them have gotten out. So it's 1, 2, 3 one-way trips with cluster munitions, and yeah, that'll pancake everything here, but you have to wonder if that's worth it. And I think that's going to be a little bit of incremental value for Red, who, despite having the positional disadvantage so far in this game, are scrapping really, really hard. I mean, both the Vihors are still alive. That had to have been one of the targets that was hoped for with those Mirages, and if they're both still alive, even if they're pulling back, that is still just a little unfortunate. So I think what we need to see, we have Norad support over here. We need to see an attackums. We need to see that sort of pinpoint destruction, and there's a couple of hard points here that would be really good to hit. One of them right here, both tanks. We had some supporting elements as well, the Tungushkas. We also have the woods back there. If there's any sort of recon on those positions, that becomes a one-shot, many, many, many kills. I mean, look at that, double Chariots here, double T-64B. That's well worth it, paying for the attackums in a single shot, a single missile even, if it does come in that way. And here it is, there's the attackums. That was pretty good timing, I gotta say, right on top of what I was thinking about there. M35 needs to get unloaded and back to a +1 for blue, 62 to 3, and ticking, of course, with Alpha Charlie canceling each other out. That +2 didn't last for very long, but it doesn't really need to either. Lots of Highlanders 90, and I gotta say, for 20 points, buying a regular infantry always feels rough to me. It's part of why I don't play USA or NORAD all that much, is I just don't love the infantry selection. But the reason that these guys are so good right here is the Eriks. So the Eriks has heat-guided missiles, 10-50 meter range, 60% accuracy, 25 AP, and that will absolutely mulch anything that is not, well, too stunned to hit. So a Buratino is going to make life very difficult. Yeah, hey, look at that. Called the spot even, too. Look at that. That's beautiful. At least one of the T-64Bs going down. One missile from the ATACMS has been fired. Actually, it looks like maybe both in the same point. It's a little unfortunate there. Usually with the ATACMS, you can fire one missile and then stop the salvo, and you keep the other one loaded and ready to fire whenever you want. So it's a really quick 1-2 punch with just incredibly high armor piercing and pinpoint precision. But the Chimeras are doing good work, and this input from Bob here, his influence over Hotel, I think has so far maintained this position. He's allowed his team to fight back into that forward town block and taken out a lot of supporting elements around that side. So I said earlier this was looking like a 2v3. That's very far from the truth now. And the longer this game goes, the more potent Norad Support becomes. But this is a bit of an issue, and I guess it is kind of proving what I'd said earlier a little bit as well. The Milan team, I would have liked to see one over here too. It's actually almost a little bit backward from what I said, because the issue is, over here, you may peel off all the support, but if you don't have anything that can kill those Proletari, they're just going to walk up and kill the Milans, because the Milan team 2 strength, they can't fight them. They can't fight them and win anyway, so there needs to be infantry killing over here. There needs to be something like, if you're going to bring them, the base Buffaloes, 15 strength shocks with pretty good guns on them and good training, and 2 of them in a town would definitely send off these Proletari without too much trouble, and that needs to happen sooner rather than later. You see some reinforcements coming in here in a VAB. I wonder what that's going to be. Kiowa WR, another sort of unusual pick here, but I think it's because of one of the specs. It appears that Battle Nation might be taking blue 4 deck with some specialization. I don't quite recognize it. Not really one to play blue or red generic, so unfortunately I'm not great at unit recognition, or more of recognition of the restrictions on different units because of different specialties for the generic blue, generic red, because you lose a lot of prototype units as well. And that will definitely be an impact on the battlefield too, when you can't bring things like the longbow, and you have to settle for the Kiowa WR, which is, I imagine, what's going on, but again, not entirely sure. So we'll see. There's another attack from shots. Yeah, I mean, even if it's only a couple of vehicles, there's 10 points apiece right there, 20, 30 points of kills. And the second missile, oh, I hope it's not the same location. It is not. That is a well-managed salvo right there, and picking apart the Red Force support. Beautiful. It's exactly what you want to do. Couldn't have done, I mean, 1-2 attack comes. This is going to be just devastating support. All he has to do, all Bob has to do with this, is keep an eye on his allies' pings and hit the targets as they pop up. And sure, you'll have to manage the reload time a little bit, especially with 2 of them in different parts of the map. It can be a little bit tricky, but this +1 is going to be hard for Red 4 to stop. I almost wonder if the goal is to contest, well, it seems like Red really wants to get back into this side of Hotel, and that seems to be something that they're just, I don't know, almost losing a lot of support to do. It might have even been better. They had a lot of momentum in Echo. If they had just pushed across the bridges earlier, there wasn't much here. Of course, there's no way of knowing that. And that's often one of the biggest things in Wargame, is you have to know where your opponent is strong and where your opponent is weak. And if you don't, you can often lose the game by overestimating them where they're weak and underestimating them where they're strong. And that seems to be something that the Red 4 team definitely did here. Could have taken this side of Echo, and that becomes a really difficult fight, because if Red takes these buildings, they can push into the corner in Hotel here. That undercuts the reinforcements into Hotel, into the Red 4 side of the bridge, across the river, and that would be then a nice coordinated 1-2 from the right and from the top to retake Hotel. But that takes a lot of coordinated teamwork. It takes a lot of knowledge about your enemy's position, and that ITO 90 along with the ASFs is way too much there. Peace Pheasant 2, definitely a one-way trip, and has to hurt. I almost would have changed target to the ITO 90 personally, just because it's still an 85-point prize, right? And it might not be an OBR 1989 140 points, but killing it will also allow you to live a little bit longer, potentially get out a little bit safer. It's more of a 1v1 instinct. If I see something like an ITO 90, I hit it. It's just, you know, we'll change direction, we'll come after the tank later. In part because people, when you peel back their support, they won't push in as aggressively either. So you kill that ITO 90, and all of a sudden there's insufficient anti-air, and that needs to be addressed before anything else can move in. Smoke with the MLRS. Oh man. Multi-launcher rocket systems being used for non-lethal means is always a bit of a surprise, and it looks like Dejan, at least, is having that same idea. OTAP 71s, crossing the river, 6 of them. If these guys have infantry, this is going to be potentially part of the reason that this ends up being a longer game, because we do have 25 minutes left, and I think this game goes fully to time at 40 minutes, which is not going to be the case. If there is, well, if blue keeps the +1, what is that? That's 300 points over 20 minutes, 375 over 25 minutes. I guess technically that's pretty close. So all red needs is to deny that +1 for just a little bit, and you end up fighting the full-length game. But there were Mechanizovna in here. M91 V-Core not able to shoot now because of the close quarters combat and the smoke denying line of sight, but that is an issue. Oh man. Okay. Well, there are Highlanders 90 here. That is a double stack of Erixes, which can kill the M91. It's not the M91A, it's just the 130-point younger brother of the true Yugoslavian Super Heavy. So if you can get... Oh, man. That's just unlucky timing. I hate it when that happens. Okay, so it does also make me wonder if there needs to be probing attacks over into Charlie and Golf. CH-136 could be moving over here, just sort of trying to see what it can from the side, but there is probably going to be anti-air in that section of woods. I guess it's one of those where you're probably going to lose whatever unit you send to scout, but there's a Neva M1T, there's double Praska. When supporting units are moving forward, you know you're in for a bad time. So I hope that blue finds a way out of this tricky situation. I almost think they need to move the Highlanders forward and use those Erixes before they engage the remnants of the infantry here, because that's going to be making the Highlanders less healthy and less happy. And frankly, the infantry here, Mechanizov and Apesh, 30 points for the triple stack is not worth a single M91 kill, not even close. So switch to that side, kill those vehicles, take out the Prachkas, anything that you can do to just make it hurt as much as you can for the Red 4 team. Deny them their points, force them to call in way more expensive stuff. Don't worry about the cheapo stuff, that comes later. You peel apart the expensive support, the expensive tanks, everything like that, and the position will fold inevitably, even if it's just a matter of then you get to bring in more for yourself, right? This would be a really nice attack gun shot if that M91 was less well microed, but it looks like it's going to be not stationary for a while. SU-24M, big bomber coming in, 30 bombs unleashed, and yeah, all on a sad SASF sniper team. That is a little bit of overkill, but I suppose he got the job done. I'm not really sure that was going to be worthwhile, but the plane got out, so I guess he had a second chance as well. Does make me wonder, there was a Patriot right here that wasn't shooting. I guess it would have been a nice time for it. You have to be careful about seed, though, so that could have been the issue. So, Bogomach moving forward, nice. I mean, they're 5 points, 15 strength, and that's pretty nice. The only downside of these guys is they have no 5-point transport. Otherwise, they'd probably be the most busted militia in the entire game, but you're not really losing that much, and they can take quite a lot of hits before they die. That's going to be another Highlanders 90 squad in the CH-147s, and... oh, man. See, this is what hurts about the Highlanders 90. They're 20 points to the Mechanizovanas 10, and they're both regular training, so even if the Highlanders have a more effective tertiary with the Mini-Me, they're going to be outnumbered, and they're going to be out-costed unless you're very, very, very careful. And, I don't know, it's a hard thing. Oh, a stun there from the OTAB 71s. These guys are quite good. 20% accuracy makes that main gun, the KPVT, very much worth it, as opposed to the lower accuracy version of the same. So 232 points to 3. This is looking pretty solidly in Blue's control, but I would also like to see a cap. If you're going to have Gurkhas moving forward here, and oh man, it's an unfortunate stun. With this whole big push from Battle Nation and Synthetic, it'd be nice if you could get a cap in this section of town. Because it won't be expected, right? They'll, oh no, okay, Command Abrams. Oh, park. There's the +2. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I guess, I don't know, it is safer back here. It's just less expected up there, so if you see carpet bombings, things looking for, what was that? Man. Okay. Well, that's what I get for being so focused, so zoomed in on the right-hand side, but I want to show you guys the nitty-gritty and all of that. Looks like a very near miss. No, that attack from shot might have killed some things. We'll see. But the issue for blue is that every single time they come in here, red just pushes them back out. I mean, quad stack of Panzer Jäger 90, that's 100 points of shock-trained infantry right there with KK-62s that aren't amazing, but they're... I like Panzer Jäger 90. I don't use them often because most of the times I play Baltic, I do play Baltic Moto. But sometimes, you know, you play Baltic Armored, shall we say. And you do get to use the Panzer Jäger 90, and particularly what's great about them is their armor piercing. They do have the Apolos, which is one of the best anti-tank weapons in the entire game for infantry. To carry L-18, L-18, MiG 29-913S, Two very different approaches here, one cautious, one right down the pipe. I want to see that Patriot turned on right now, getting a shot off. Ah, man. You see, when that thing circles, he's going to be out of range, but that was an opportunity there for a little cheeky shot with 9 HE, which very well could one-hit crit against an enemy plane, and yeah. I don't know, I think the attackums are using up most of Bob's micro, which I certainly can't blame him for. It would for me as well. That double stack of M84As needs to get hit. That needs to be a ping, and that needs to be an attackum shot coming in there. I mean, look at that. That's nearly 200 points worth of value just waiting to be counter-fired, and... is that the inflict? No, okay, Milan. I was going to say, that looks like the inflict shot there. Which I guess they are. Do they... will they do damage to... no, that's only HE. You wouldn't... what killed that? I swear if those inflicts killed that tank. But I'm sure one of you guys saw that more closely than I did, so just let me know what killed that tank, and I'll be a happy man. So, lots of artillery coming in now from the Red 4 side, and that is going to be devastating. Even if not for kills, it will be for stuns as well. Although most of this is Bergamot, that's not because there was nothing expensive in here, it's because all the expensive infantry have died. So, I mean, this is just brutal fighting. This is just crazy brutal fighting on both ends of it. It does look like Red has a command vehicle in Echo now too, because we're down to a +1, and that Command Abrams is still parked stationary. So there needs to be a pushback now. You need to take these sections of town, and then South Africa, I think, Caspiers, oh, that one's dead. Yeah, no amphibious options here for South Africa, and that really hurts, because this map in particular is one that I like to play as Baltic, because as Baltic, oh, Seed, come on, here's the chip shot, turn it on. Damn. Baltic can come over here to the right and can cross this river at 1, 2, 3 different locations here. I mean, it doesn't have to be those 3, but that's sort of what I do, because you have the gaps 1, 2, and 3. And so if you shoot for all the gaps, something's going to get across. You have the Iroquois that can take out any sort of helicopter follow up there, and then once you leverage your way onto the right-hand side, it becomes a mirror image of what we discussed earlier, where Red can come in from the right and from the top to threaten Hotel. Well, Blue can come in from the right and from the bottom across these bridges to push into Echo, as well as from the left-hand side. So it's even more of a U, and it's really hard to maintain these towns with that sort of pressure, and you don't even need to take the towns. If Blue comes in here from the top and takes the forests, that is devastating, because this reinforcing line can come under threat. If you have high AP infantry right here, they're going to side shot everything moving through, and then you'll have infantry that need to handle the front line, that need to handle preventing things getting across the bridges, and that need to clear those woods all at the same time. It can be absolutely devastating to deal with and nigh unrecoverable. I've had people actually just surrender, because once you get over here, they're kind of toast, right? So if you have Hotel anyway, and you get that side of Echo, it's just brutal stuff. But it looks like Red is once again maintaining the momentum here, while regaining and maintaining the momentum here with their infantry. Panzerjäger, the remnants of that quad stack of Panzerjäger 90, not looking very healthy, but there's more Jäger 90. Sini, of course, is playing at least Finland, maybe Baltic. We have mostly seen KTs, and I'm not sure I've seen anything coming from Poland from him. But I also haven't necessarily been looking for everyone's tags all the time, so well, we'll see if he's playing Baltic or just playing Finland. I do like the Finnish national deck myself. I think it's better than people necessarily think it might be, but this is a problem that needs to be stopped. These sappers are right here, and if they get into the section of town, all of those Jägeri are dead. I wonder, okay, there's the ping, T-72 OBR sitting still. I wonder if we'll see the attackums shooting. Yep, that's a missile away. Beautiful. Nice coordination there, and oh my goodness, if that hits that reinforcing line as well, it looks like it might be just a little bit late. Let's watch this in neutral. I want to see... oh, that's a plummet. Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Wonderful. Taking out that plummet. You have to move your stuff if you know that there's an attack comes on the board, because if you leave it there, it will die. So really, people say fire move, fire move, fire move for whenever you have artillery, whenever you have even anti-air supporting elements. If you're playing against NORAD or USA, it's even more crucial. Let's watch the second shot come in. Looking for the M84, not quite able to get him. That is a little unfortunate there, but it's the price that you pay for such a high precision missile is, you know, a little bit of specificity. These Chimeras have been alive since the beginning of the game. MI24 VP very much wants to change that, and the short arrow moving to cover is stunned. Oh, that could be deadly, but there's nice smoke cover here. So that at least should help out quite a bit. And if these guys can get back across this section of river, they can be healed up. There's been nice constant HLVWs from Bob Magilica, making sure his own stuff is resupplied. I might even say The Avenger, if it moved down to here or here, could probably shoot at the Mi-24 VP. This thing, well, not the longest range. Oh, 2275 isn't very long at all. Yeah, I'm really not sure about that. I think this is the main issue right now. If those sappers from Battle Nation were more to the right and had stopped the Ikari from coming across, I betcha this infantry wouldn't be pushing across the open. What's happening is Red is sensing blood in the water. They're saying, okay, if there's a time to retake Hotel, it's right now. We can't afford to wait. Oral, cluster, right on the command Abrams? How do they see that? Is there something over here that we didn't see? I mean, there's a Hera too. There's nothing else. That could have just been blind guessing. I suppose, I mean, now they know for sure it's there because the zone was decapped. Well, I guess you could be messing with them, but if that was a guess, that was a pretty darn good guess, which is always annoying to deal with. It's one of those where you're sitting there going really blind. But then again, a couple weeks ago I posted a video of a 1v1 on Ranked where basically a blind CV kill won me the game, so I can't really even talk that much. It's part of the game. It is something you have to watch out for people doing because they will do it. So, yeah, such is life. Another Plowman coming in from Dejan, Tunguska M, T-72 OBR 1989. I think, yeah, I'd really be surprised if the end of this game we don't see a kill list that favors Red here, just because it's one of the prices you pay for fighting so far away from your own resupply. Blue has just been pushing forward, trying to maintain this bridgehead for a very long amount of time, and you could argue, oh, Nighthawk, yeah, that's nice. Didn't even dive too far in either, and I guess I had assumed it was going for the M84A instead of the infantry. Probably killed the infantry, but the M84A is 100 points, well, 95 points, so that's sort of the more worthwhile target in my opinion, just because it's not like there's any infantry here to re-clear that town anyway. So all Red has to do is say, oh, the infantry here is dead, let's move a couple more in. And yeah, it didn't even necessarily get them. So there's Proletary, something with good launchers right here. More Proletary. Fast launchers, not high armor piercing, but certainly fast. And this is brutal. This is the worst it's been for Blue since the beginning of the game, because this section of the bridgehead across into Hotel had always held, and now it's not. Ruavolk looking for that close range kill, not able to get it. Second Ingwe lost the guide. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Panicked, and that's going to be another really expensive loss, 120 point loss, just like the Apaches we saw earlier. Down he goes. I do like the Ruavolk quite a bit. I think for 120 points it does, I think it is not over or under costed. That's just my own opinion on it. Yeah, but I quite like it. And the thing is, you're looking at this game right now. You have 369 points for Blue, you have 3 points for Red, 12 minutes left. That is nigh unrecoverable. Red needs a +3. I mean, +3 would well and way take it, but a +2 is insufficient. +2 would be about 360 points. It would tie, but only just, and Blue still has a +1 ticking. So right now, if Blue wanted to, what they could do is just pull back across this river and say, hey, you know what? Countercap this, that's fine. We're going to stop taking losses like this, trying to hold it. And if you want to push across these rivers, these bridges, be my guest, because any offensive that goes that way is going to get absolutely hammered, and there's no longer a need for a +1. Keep in mind too, I mean, with 150 points left on the board, they technically win before time is up. Well, more like 165 points, so 180 points left on the board, with the time remaining nearly 12 minutes. But even though they don't need all that, it's almost one of those where would you rather win it on time and make your opponent bleed a bit more, or would you rather send in, I mean, this is desperate one after one sorts of things, and they're gonna die not at cost, like these Buffaloes. 50 points for the double stack, and they've at best damaged some Proletary, just because there's so much combined arms here that anything that goes across is going to just get hammered. Like, these Gurkhas 90, 30, 60, 90 points each. Yeah, they've made it here. They might get a couple of infantry kills, but that's really going to be, well, okay, I mean, a couple of vehicles there as well, but they have 90 points to make up. And I'd be really surprised if they get it. Although, you know, I've been wrong before, shall we say. That NRZ 128 is looking for an open shot, not able to find it. That's the tricky thing with helicopters. You have to sort of move radially to shoot, but Singer team will take that out very, very quickly. And what I will say, at the beginning, there was a lot of stuff from both of Bob's allies over in Echo and Hotel, and most of that stuff is dead. Bob is now holding across the entire front. Look at this. Front line all the way across, his command Abrams, his command squad, his command squad, his command squad again, and holding down all of these points. It's such an impact for the team. It's really just nice coordination and nice teamwork there from Bob Magilica in this game. So, you know, making your team proud, right? And these Gurkhas have done better than I estimated. It looks like the Yekri are probably dead. It allowed also a kill on that HTNRZ from the Stinger C team here, which was pretty nice. And this is brutal. BMPTs need to get just... oh man. Oh, that's so bad. These guys. Oh, look at that. Alright, attack comes to the rescue. I wonder, that was probably just center of mass on that forest. But I wish it had come in time to save the Nordlands Yegri, which, I mean, there's no way to do that. That was probably the fastest that thing reloaded, because we have seen some pretty constant pressure from the attackums, and nice kills from them as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing that kill list and unit highlight. Ferret Mark II 106s, bit of a less common pick, but I do love these guys as well, because they have 1 frontal armor, which, yeah, 1 to 2 is the biggest jump in armor in the game in terms of protection, but at least you're not taking double from AP. So these guys, you know, they take the stated value. It helps them fight a bit better against autocannon vehicles like the KTs, which are still more expensive by 5 points than the Ferrets. They're more combat capable, but not necessarily all at once. And the thing is, these guys have no stabilizer. I wonder if they were attack moved, if they'd be able to kill it. Yep, shots into the KTs, 6 shots, 0 hits. Yeah, that's the Ferret for you. But I mean, they're panicked, they're worried, they're having a bad day. It's the issue with having them in groups. Oh, what was that? That can't have been an attack comes back in, but it looks like cluster, just a single shell from that cluster munition came in, smacked the Patriot that had been there most of the game, and yeah, brutal stuff, brutal stuff. Now, I don't think it's going to be enough to save Red. They are probably going to get a counter cap here. That's what I imagine stops the game before it gets to 500 points, which maybe not. Is this really... Dude, that's so aggressive. Even coming from a Moto player who likes to be aggressive, that's so crazy aggressive. Hot dropping them across the river in Lynx AH7. Oh my goodness, man. SAS too, not cheap. And there's infantry in that town. Brutal. Against 2 VDV-90, that's going to be a hard fight. Although Rattle 90's Ferret supporting should be able to shake these guys up a bit, but I'd almost have stayed back a bit more. The RPK-74 is pretty nice, and if these guys had stayed out of range, the Ferret and Rattles might have been able to kill those VDV and allow the SAS to move in. But as it is, everything from their dead, again, just... oh, man. Oh, okay. Now we're starting to see some action on Alpha. I think Red recognizes if they don't make something happen right now, they're just done. And what they need is a complete blow-through as well. I mean, there's only 7.5 minutes left in the game, and very nearly at the score where all the best they can do is tie, which I believe is 450 or 460 points. Whatever it is, where even if your opponent gets to 500, you are still within the range that... oh, goodness gracious, that's rude. Okay. Yeah, that's just rude. Look, helicopter rushes are one thing, and helicopter rushes at the beginning of the game are one thing, but this is, I think, just quite unsporting. So Mi-28s, Mi-24 VPs, and yeah, defend your base, but this is the definition of a helo rush. It's too much. You could have Avengers, you could have short arrows, you could have anti-air everywhere across your base, and it wouldn't be enough, because the second it shoots, it's going to be found and killed. And there are a couple factions that can maybe deal with it, but even with the pivots, I don't think USA is one of them. I really just mostly mean Scandinavia, with an automatic, with an LVKV, something like that. But this is just... that. See, look, yeah. I mean, pivots killed a couple of them, and then the 24 VP just wrecked them both. And both of the spawns, Juliet, India, taking fire, Commandant here, I mean, attackums. There was an attackums back there. I think there was another Patriot on that side. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, they're just going to sweep all of the artillery, and it's just, I mean, I don't know, this could just be me being a little salty here, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. But even the follow-up Ka-52, this is just so rude, right? And it'll get them a +2. Might even get them a +3 if they were able to counter cap in Hotel, but at what cost, right? And not necessarily points cost. I'm talking about who really... goodness gracious. Okay, I've done this one once myself. It wasn't with a Helo Rush, it was with, I took Alpha, then pushed into India and took India, and that often is just game over right there. But Lad Stinger C, this feels like a little bit of karma to me. That missile firing away, one shot, one hit, second shot, down goes the Ka-52, and that's the Gazella that just dropped off reinforcements in India, which means Blue now has to fight against India. They don't have their own spawn right now. The Humvee from Bob moving back over to Juliet to recapture it, but there's 1, 2, 3, well, I was going to say 4, but 1, 2, 3 KTs left alive on that side. Tansam Short Arrow doing some nice work, Rukat doing some nice work, almost out of ammunition. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I mean, holy cow. I think with the +7, which they have now with Alpha, I think Red actually might get to 500 in 5 minutes with the +7. I mean, jeez. That's what, 75 points a minute? Yeah, that's, jeez. Okay, I mean, down to a +6, and every bit of difference there now does matter quite a lot, because, I mean, dude, +6. Just so rude. So rude. You know, I never know quite what I'm signing up for with these community casts. I've seen all sorts of strategies, some decisive, some long games, some short games, everything like that. And this is the first time I think I've ever seen this sort of late game helo rush on a community cast. I've faced it before, certainly playing the game, sort of part and parcel with public lobbies and things like that. But, oh, if the artillery gets hotel as well, come on. Down to 4 strength. I mean, town blocks will keep you pretty safe there, unless it's a complete direct hit. But they actually got the air reinforcement here as well. L-18s, Orals, lots of things coming in. Super Galeb, looking for whatever it can hit. And, yeah, I mean, this Humvee is probably headed toward Delta. That'd be my guess. This is nice. The Beta 87, well, they have a Tunguska up. That's a Scot. Looking to cap Alpha and get another +2. Super Galeb. Oh, are there 2 air? Oh, I forgot there were 2 air reinforcement zones in this for each side. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Nighthawk, though, is probably going to get taken down by an L-15M. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, looks like it did get out there. Raven getting a nice kill on the Tunguska. Oh, this is hard. This is very hard. I mean, how do you deal with this on the ground, right? Most of the Blue 4 forces that weren't already depleted were headed over to Hotel Echo. +6, 3 minutes left. Does Red win this? That would be just soul-crushing if Red were to actually take this, because if they can cap an Alpha, that's back to a +6, which it needs to happen right now, but we've already seen that they have command infantry in helicopters. One of them comes across here, that's all you need, right? And that's back to a +6 if they can clear Delta again. It looks like most of their helicopters did die, so at least we don't really have to worry about that coming in again. But, I mean, goodness gracious, there needs to be ATGMs in these towns, and the Chimeras, still alive from the beginning of the game, rotating over, might even save it if they can get some nice shots on here. XA-180s, Charioteers, looks like some Red 4 units already up on top, including a BRDM-3. That is an issue because it's recon, it has an autocannon, the 2A-72 is pretty nice, if not amazing. It certainly does get the job done, and the Chimeras are going to have really bad line of sight inside these towns, so engaging the T-64Bs, although that might actually help them. Short range, Chimeras have really, really high frontal armor for the point cost. I mean, you're paying for the lack of a turret right there. But if they get those guns online, the T-64B is going to have a bad day. Nice KOWR. Never thought I'd say that, but yeah, nice KOWR. Oh, man. Beautiful stuff. And yeah, this is great. So there needs to be a countercap in India right now. ITO 90 also being taken out by some Ruakats. Very nice counteroffensive here. Just make sure that Hera can't get his rocket pods online against the TACOM, because that would be pretty catastrophic as well. And everything that had already been queued up will still come in here. You do have to watch out for that. Still a +5. Yep, Alpha has been capped. +5 for Red. 356 points, 2 minutes left in the game. Not even. There needs to be a kill here. Blue needs to retake India. BMD-2K. But, I mean, there's another one. This is probably, yep, that's the command infantry right there. The Command Odilenia. I probably don't pronounce that anything approaching to right. But L-15M looking for the TACOM is my... Oh, no. I thought they would have spotted it with the Hera too and come in with a bomber. Doesn't look like it, though. I wonder if that was just... Oh, man. Both Cheetah Ds miss. The one time you need those missiles to hit. I swear. That's Wargame for you, alright? A-10, gun running, except stunned. And the Ruakats looking for that kill. Come on. Come on, come on. 1-2. There it is. India is back under Blue 4 control. Blue's, well, Red's down to a +4, which... Oh, man. Oh, goodness. That's still, I mean, that's 60 points. Oh, I didn't even do the math right on the +7, did I? That's kind of embarrassing. Man, hard to think during when you're trying to cast as well. But a +4 is 60 points, so a +7 would be almost 120, be what, 105 per minute? That's absurd. You win the game. You win the game in 5 minutes. 440 to 438. Looks like Red will actually have the higher score in this game, but probably tie area is what I'm thinking. 440 to 446. Oh man, this is a clincher. I mean, you can kind of feel for them a little bit. It means that they really did fight well in Echo and Hotel, but I don't know. It's just such a cheesy move to do what they did. And maybe a couple more Avengers over on that side could have put a bit more of a dent in it, stopped it from going quite so far into Juliet, Delta, and Alpha. But I don't know. I would not, even if I was in the Red 4 team, I would kind of feel a little bad about this one if it does turn out being a win. Just because, I mean, really? Sort of thing, you know? That is going to be a draw. I think only by a couple of points. If they'd had maybe 8, 10 more points, that would have been a win for Red. And, okay, 11-0-2-2, 11-0-7-5, but you got to keep in mind a ton of points were lost for Red in that Helo rush. Yeah, they killed, well, I guess they picked up a lot of artillery as well. Probably looks like a pretty even fight most of the way through. And that, with Bob Magilica going more than 2-1, is quite impressive. Battle Nation taking some really heavy losses, fighting against 3 people in the towns, is quite understandable. And Synthetic, a bit better of a KD, but still got hammered 3-2 in that section of town fighting. And let's look at the Chimeras. Great stuff here, alive the whole game and quite good at their jobs. And we have the Attackums, Buratino, T-64, KTs, T-72, BMPT, all that stuff, and that's just one of them. The other one got the M91, got the Neva M1T. Great value off of both of those supporting pieces. Command M1 Abrams to combat. All right, that's going to be all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.